Giulia's music hits. And all of a sudden, the big ass 20 by 40 Titantron opens, parts in the middle, and she's on like a hydraulic thing, that suspension thing is way like 15 feet in the air. She comes down, I'm like, and I literally sat in my seat and I was like, what?
bro. Bro, I
I was
saw this
not
shit.
prepared for this shit here.
I was like, bro, it's like she's God Almighty coming down to fight right here.
Yes.
What is
So
this?
I was like, holy shit. I so she does her entrance and it's awesome. And she walks down. And then Tam music hits. She does the same entrance, like just shit parts, comes down, and like I think the difference is like I think for Tam's they gave her like a spotlight deal, whatever else in the background you can see. But she comes down, both of them just and I'm just like, before the all year, like we mentioned last week, we were talking about somebody. I mentioned like Giulia and Tam are just racing to the top. They're racing to the top. Whoever is winning this G1 or not G1, well it's the G1 now at this point. But whoever wins the Grand Prix is going to Sumo Hall. It is like taking the belt off Shuri, and they're going to be like the top champion and main event all the shit for the next nine months to a year or whatever else. And that is what it is. And then the one that lost this shit was like probably going to be the next champion after that. And to see like, I don't know if it's so much as just me being right as fuck, but like, but the point was like for me, it's like they, in a way, like this reminded me of like '98 Rock and Triple H, where it's like they first start each other, they have this great feud in beginning of a robbery, and they're both like wrestling for the secondary title. And then like they're both rising in stock, and they're both, at least from the Rock perspective, obviously the Triple H caught up in a different way later, but like they both then become like they both get to the top of the company like for the main belt in like the 2000s, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like from 2020 to now, like you look at the main narratives of this company, and you look at like who are the top stars and how they're presented, and you look at like the posters and all this kind of stuff, and it's like Mayu's Tanahashi. She's the old, ambassador ace type figure, but this is her second year in a row where she's been eliminated before the final night, right? Utami, you saw, I forgot to mention this, after Utami lost to Kaguma, out comes Natsuko Tora, and she comes back, and it's going to be Natsuko Tora versus Utami, and whatever.
Apparently, Natsuko Tora did not hit the lottery on her time away.
Unfortunately, yes.
And
yeah, but back to my point where I lose steam is like, you look at what they've done with these two from 2020 to here, where like, and then going into 2023 and maybe even 24 is like, don't fucking kid yourselves, as this company has done nothing but grown and grown around these two. These are the two top stars of this company. They've been presented that way. They've carried themselves that way. They've been not champions all year long. Yet you look at, if you want to do MVP voting, they will both be in the top 4. Like Giulia was the MVP of this tournament. Tam was in a lesser block, but like it was time to turn it on in the last 2 weeks of the tournament. She turned it on and had great matches. Like, and then she had this fucking final. Like, don't kid yourselves. These two are the ones. And for those that like started in 2020 when Giulia, or 2019, late 2019 when Giulia came in and they did all that fucking hating, and like it was slow to start with her getting over, and then by the time she won the Cinderella tournament, she had got over, to Tam always being like this person that was always super fucking over, but was never presented as somebody that was deserving of being top star. Well, you look at what happened, where like they got put together, and like they've had the defining rivalry of this promotion of the last 3 years, and they go out here and they do this from a domestic perspective. If you want to say Utami and Shuri, go at it. They do not draw like Giulia and Tam. They just don't. So, like, they go out here and they have this match, and they're both, or they go out there and they come down for it, and they're both literally coming down from descending upon from the fucking heavens above everybody else that are rulers over all they survey. Whoever's winning this fucking match is going to go to the main event of the biggest show of the year and win the title, presumably. This is awesome. And then the match was even better than all of that. So I thought this was the second best match in Stardom this year. I thought this match was incredible. I could give you a rundown of all of this. I wrote it down. I'm just not going to do it. The gist of this was, by the time they end up outside the ring, they're trying to drop each other on their head on the ramp. Tam escapes, getting jumped on her head. Takes out Giulia, runs up the ramp like fucking Muto, runs back and hits a fucking bicycle knee. They end up back in the ring, and then they just proceed to drop each other on their head and kick out at one over and over and over and over and over.
1 count kickouts.
It was fucking awesome. Then they end up with there's also a slap battle. They end up opposite corners, similar to, and all this. There's also a bunch of callbacks to their third and fourth match, where like Tam in the white belt match in October 2020 was trying to tiger suplex Giulia off of the second rope, could never do it, and Giulia escaped it by rearing her head back and headbutting Tam in the back of the head, and Tam just crumpled and died. And then Tam finally is like, same spot, gets shoot headbutted and falls down. She fires up, gets back up there, and just tiger suplexes Giulia right on the base of her neck. Horrifying. Giulia gets back up, and ends up hitting her butterfly superplex. There was so much shit in this match. I don't know how you possibly fit this much violence and crazy shit in 17 minutes, but they managed to do it. You mentioned them kicking out a head drop, basically head drop, neck drop stuff at one,
stolen
4 times in a row, stolen each other's finishes. Like, by the time they got past all that stuff and the kicks and the slaps, whatever else, they end up opposite corners. They run toward each other. Tam ducks a right from Giulia, and Tam go for a head kick. Giulia ducks, grabs Tam's bad arm. Earlier in the match, she worked on Tam's bad arm. Tam's been selling this arm since the Mirai tag team match a month or two ago, and gets her in pump handle position and hits her with a pump handle backdrop driver that just drops Tam on the back of her fucking neck, or not back of her neck. I'm sorry, the back of her head. It was gross and disgusting. Tam fired up from there, and basically like from there, Giulia hits like a Kamagoye knee. No, I'm sorry. Then you get all of the 4 count, 1 count stuff. Tam hits a glorious driver on. Tam hits a glorious driver on Giulia. Giulia kicks at 1. Tam goes for a violet screwdriver. Giulia wiggles free. She hits Tam's own violet screwdriver on Tam. Tam kicks at 1. Giulia then hits a Kamagoye, like a single arm Kamagoye, and then gets her up and hits a glorious driver. Tam kicks at 2, and then Giulia gets her up and hits the Akira Hokuto Northern Lights bomb and drops her for 3. This match is excellent. Like, this match could have made it, like you said, their last match, their hair match. That could have made it anything in the world. This also could have made it anything in the world. 4 3/4. This was fucking awesome.
I'm right there with you. 4 3/4. Giulia gets her revenge on all these evil people. And done it all. Gets to the place where presumably it was always meant for her. If you know, this could have been last year, and this could have been Giulia's had she not been injured.
A little bit different, because last year Meltzer reported the plan was she was going to win and then lose to Giulia, and then Shuri was going to win early in like March, and then they were probably going to do this match. Giulia was going to probably win the belt at the same time, but like she would have won last year's Grand Prix, not this year's Grand Prix. She would have gotten the title match against Tommy, and Tommy would have beat her. That's basically what Meltzer reported last year when she went down.
Yeah, big win for her. They showed. I didn't catch the post match on this, but I saw.
Oh my god, the post match!
I saw some photos going around. It was just like Tam, just utter dejection, just looking up at Giulia, and it was weird. Like when I think about their rivalry, and Like this wasn't like they did a lot of things to each other, but I felt like this was like this wasn't as heated on the hatred scale as maybe the last.
They shook
match
hands
was.
before the match.
Right.
Yeah.
But this was like, all right, these are two women that live in the same neighborhood that will attend similar schools, that will be there from middle school to high school to college. They will always be contemporaries of each other, and once every year they have a big fight against each other. Like, oh, they had the big fight in middle school, and everybody in high school hears about it, and eventually they have the big fight in high school, and then like this was the big high school fight or whatever, where it was like, I don't like you, but it's well established, but we just got to do it again, and they'll do it again one day, and I'm sure it'll be awesome. I feel like Giulia's earmarked for the red belt at this point now.
Yeah. So the post match, they're both just wiped out and devastated and laid out on the floor next to each other.
Twitter very happy about Giulia winning, by the way. Also, too, I didn't see any of the the fuck Giulia stuff. Like, it seems like Giulia's really hot right now.
Well, once she's shoved it in your face that you've been fucking wrong for 2 straight years, maybe you eventually learn. So I mean, I've seen a couple complaints here and there about it being too predictable, and I'm just like, tough fucking shit. I'm sorry. Like, what the fuck? Oh my god, we can't put the belt on 85 Hogan. You're an asshole. So anyway, So yeah, like after the match, they're both just completely devastated and wiped out from the hell they just unleashed on each other. Like, remember Nolan Richardson in Arkansas, 40 Minutes of Hell?
Yes.
Like, when Tam and Giulia get together at this point now, it is 19 to 20 minutes of hell. Like, they're just so fucking great together, man. It's unbelievable. So they're just wiped down, destroyed. And like Tam, like basically is laid in in like white, or basically crawls herself over to like the corner or against, and like hangs against the bottom rope and is watching like Giulia taking everything, right? So they have everybody walk to the back. They have everybody walk off to the back. So that's so similar to like earlier in the show when Natsupoi got beat and Tam has to piggyback her off. Tam piggybacks with Natsupoi to the back. So then they do the award, and Giulia walks up the ramp or whatever else, and then they do the award, the awards for like, fighting spirit, best tournament, best matches for each block or whatever else. This year's best match for each block were just Cap.
I was gonna say, I heard there was Cap being unloaded,
bro. Okay, so blue block's best match was Utami versus not Utami. It was Kamatani versus Suzu. I don't think that's either one of their third or second best match in this tournament. Like, I think that obviously the Suzu match you saw with Giulia, I think Suzu had a better match with who was it? I had just thought about this earlier. Momo. Like, that match was one of the best matches in the tournament. And then like Kamatani had a better match with Giulia, and she had a better match with Kid. Like, that match she had with Kid in night 2 was basically like that white belt match, except with none of the bad selling that she was doing, and it was like a 14-minute sprint. Like, so nah, like that was both of their third best matches in the block. So that was Cap. And then the best match from the red block was the match we just saw earlier was Micah and Emeka, and I was like, oh, okay, y'all. Like, the best, I don't think it was the best match. I would say it's up there in that block, because that block wasn't as loaded as the blue block was this year. But like, I would say that I would put Tam versus Risa against that match. I would put Tam versus Shuri against that match. Obviously the best match in that block was night 2, Shuri versus Utami. Like, I gave that match 4.5. So Yeah, like it was way up there, but no, like they were just like, let's just give these people like participation trophies or whatever else. So those four come down. Then they bring then they do like best technique that went to Mirai. Fighting spirit Azumi. Azumi has won like the previous 3 years best technique. I don't know, maybe because how much technique can you show in 7 minutes? But and then they bring out the runner up, wins the trophy. Tam comes down. She gets like a semi-standing ovation coming down. And by that point in time, like they have the arm or Daichi the ref before she had walked off. Like they put the ice pack on her arm and everything. And so she comes down, and then Giulia comes out. They give her a semi-standing ovation as well. So they take pictures, all that kind of stuff. So everybody goes to leave and everything else. And then the last two in the ring after the awards are handed out and presented, like Tam says something to Giulia. We can't hear what it was. I don't think they're ever translated. I don't think audio ever picked it up. But whatever Tam said to Giulia made Giulia cry. And then Tam takes everybody like walks, instead of taking the ramp, like they, walk off, like as if you lost, like walk off into like the guts of the arena, or whatever else. Tam takes like the top ramp, the regular entrance ramp on the way back, gets another semi-standing ovation, and then like gets to the top of the ramp, bows, and looks up at Giulia, and then like you get this far shot of them staring at each other, and then you see and then you see like Giulia's face, you see Giulia's crying, and it's like, this ain't fucking over. This is their fucking company. I'm sorry for those that have doubted these two over the last however many years, whatever else. I'm sorry. Like these two are the two top stars in this company. This company has done nothing but grown exponentially since they started locking up. I'm sorry, y'all. Whoever is doubting Velcage, I'm sorry. You're deep in denial in the mud. You're wrong. You're wrong as fuck. So, Giulia. Then I haven't seen any translations of it. Obviously, there's been some talk of plagiarism from Stardom World and Dana, who was doing instant translations. Dana's cooled off on that, so in the next couple of days we'll get the translation of whatever Giulia said when she got the robe and the crown, but the confetti flew, and like this. On a show pay-per-view with Stardom, like they look as big as anybody outside of WWE. It just the presentation, the stage set design, all that kind of stuff. Now, even before the hydraulic thing, like there was a pay-per-view earlier this year where like they did the Dakota Ibushi, Rey Mysterio trapdoor box spring thing for Azumi. Like this company, like the sheer amount of talent, the sheer amount of will and go to of them wanting to put on great matches from match one to match however. I know all this stuff, yet I still get super impressed by this fucking company. I always think like they're great, and then they always find a way to be better than my expectations for them are. Like, I'm always telling you all the time, like when I talk to other people that aren't in the Stardom and don't watch Stardom, I'm like, hey man, you are missing out. And like I'm always like, I hope that y'all watch it, but at the same time, I'm like, did I oversell this and that they're this good or whatever else? No, I didn't oversell this. They fucking smoked the G1 this year, top to bottom.
I mean, I think we told them that in preview, like that shit was gonna happen.
Right, but then they went out there and they did it. It's not one thing where it's like,
listen to us.
It's one thing where it's like, if they're just slightly better, they smoked them. They smoked them this year. Like their top level matches. I'm not saying there's anything like an Ospreay, Shingo, Ospreay, Naito, Ospreay, Okada on these cards. I'm not saying that. But if you say, what's the fourth best match on the G1 card this year? What's the fourth best match on like half of these Grand Prix shows? They killed them. So yeah, man, like super impressed. Great tournament, great final. One of the best matches of the year worldwide. One of the best matches in Stardom history. Um, I don't. I don't know what else to say. I think it's one of the three best shows of the year. Revolution and AEW Revolution and Forbidden Door. I probably still put Forbidden Door number one. But yeah, just an incredible show. And like, if you haven't watched Stardom or whatever else, and people ask me this stuff, well, when the time to get into it? This show right fucking here, this show right here.
Just start like.
You don't need none of the backstory. If you just like, if you want to see just cool wrestling, they got it. If you want to know more about that stuff, hit me up. I'll tell you. Or just listen to this thing. We've laid out a pretty good amount of that stuff. How long are we talking about on this show? We did an hour and a half of this already.
Yeah. Talking
about this one show. So killer show. What's next? Any last thoughts before we move on?
I think that if people aren't paying attention to Stardom yet, they probably should, because there's going to be like New Japan integration going on. And I just want to let everybody know, like, if they send the right people from Stardom, they are not coming to fuck around. And I'd heard different things, like there are wrestlers on the New Japan roster like not particularly thrilled they'll be sharing the cards with women, so like older veteran wrestlers.
I bet they won't like it when they go out there and they have better matches in them too.
It will be it's a lot going on, so you'll see like the competitive nature within Stardom, and I'm sure they're going to want to represent Stardom a lot, because I feel like a lot of Stardom fans have been itching to really start, like, they've gotten the Noahs out of here, gotten the Dragon Gates out of here. Like it's ludicrous. They want the number one spot.
So Rich, after I made the joke about Saki, like she got all the top contenders out of there, and she, Zumi was the last Infinity Stone. Zach Porter, who we talked about earlier, he sent me a meme, I just put it you. Can you put that on the screen for the people to see? And this is how we go in. Like, if this gets clipped or whatever else, this is how we go in this one. So, can you put it on the screen?
It is on the Summer Jam screen.
Yes, Saki has got them all. She got them all.
Yep. Get crucifixed quickly.